Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Kaylee Marston. If you watched my previous video, you know I am a speech language pathologist here at Levine Cancer Institute, and I work in the Department of Supportive Oncology, where I help patients who are experiencing changes in their cognitive functioning. Today, however, I really wanted to focus on a specific area that many people complain about or is talked about all the time, and that is memory. And I want to specifically touch on some key memory strategies that maybe you're already using, but maybe you could learn more about and see if it can help your memory. So keep in mind, memory is a very broad and complicated topic. It's still honestly not even well understood in the scientific community, and we're learning more and more about the brain and how memory works. But I would say the most common types of memory that we talk about and address would be short-term, working memory, and long-term memory. Memory can include both the acquiring of new information, storing it, but then later being able to retrieve it when you want, as fast as you want. Of course, this is a very complex process and it doesn't always go perfectly. So most of us experience sometimes some lapses in memory. Maybe we forget where we leave our keys, or maybe we forget someone's name that we met recently, or details from a conversation. I think we've all missed an appointment here or there, or something that we meant to do. However, I will say that in oncology, whether it's due to someone's cancer or the cancer-related treatments, your memory can be even more impacted than just, the day-to-day that everyone sometimes experiences. And this can make it hard to do, work tasks or even just daily activities, and can really impact someone's quality of life. Strategies, luckily, really do help us compensate for these difficulties and make us be able to access, information a little bit better. And so let's dive into some examples. Okay, the first one is writing it down. Of course, this is very obvious. Most of us have used this strategy before, but it can be more than that. Sometimes just the act of writing something down helps our brain encode the information so we can remember it better later. And it can obviously be, serve as a reference for later so we can look back. Maybe we are looking back at an appointment time, at a grocery list, maybe notes from a work meeting. And I think that although a lot of people know that writing things down can be helpful, it's accepting that maybe we're at a point where you need to write things down more than you used to because you're having memory changes. So practicing that and having a good organized system for writing things down can be really useful, but also, is a cognitive task within itself. Whether you use a planner or a smartphone app such as the Notes or the Reminders app, you have to kind of come up with something that will help you. Luckily, there's a lot of things out there, whether you do pen and paper or use technology, so write it down to help you. Okay, the next strategy is association or attaching meaning to information. When we can attach meaning to something that doesn't have as much meaning already, that really can help us remember better. So what do I mean by that? I would say names is the most common example. For instance, when we meet somebody, names don't have a lot of context, in most of the time, unless you're named like Apple. But most people's names, they don't always stick out. And so many people tell me that they're having a harder time remembering names. What I encourage people to do is to try to attach meaning to it. The easiest way is obviously if you already know somebody with the same name, try to kind of pair them together in your mind. If that doesn't work though, you need to kind of find something else. Sometimes it can be really silly or really obvious. Let's say you meet someone named Sarah. You also find in talking to Sarah that she is a supervisor at her job. So now you might remember her better if you think of her as Supervisor Sarah. So you're adding a little bit more meaning to her name. Obviously, they both start with S, so they're easier to also recall, and that may help you later recall her name. Again, it's not always perfect, but it's a good starting place to help your memory. The next strategy is repetition or mental rehearsal. This is sometimes the fastest thing we can do in the moment when we're trying to remember something new and use it right away. So when you hear maybe a number or a little bit of information, whether that be directions or someone's birthday, repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, that can really help, especially when you can't maybe write something down. An example I think about that I feel I do this in is when you're trying to log into an app or maybe a website and it wants to verify your identity or the device you're using. So it says that it's going to send you a code. So then it either texts you or emails you a code, maybe 4 to 5 numbers long. And I often repeat that number over and over as I'm moving back to the other screen to put the number in. That way I can hold that in my mind instead of having to switch back and forth, back and forth. The last strategy is called grouping or chunking of information. When we can categorize information, our brain loves that. It loves when things are more organized. It's like a filing cabinet. We don't want the papers all over the place. We want them, logically where they should be. So an example of this would be maybe, let's say you're on your way to the store, Target, and you have a list of items in your head you're thinking about. Apple, Lysol, oh, you need some dishwasher soap, but you also need to pick up some more Tylenol. You want to get some bread and some coffee. Your kid is sick, you need to get some cough drops. So now you have this long list of some different items, and instead you might think of them more in groups. So, okay, I have some food items I need to get, some medications, and some cleaning supplies. Then later when you go to recall them, instead of just trying to recall the list at random, you rather think of those groups and then what items you need in each group, and this can help your brain. And so I hope some of these resonate with you. Again, it's about practicing them and maybe becoming more aware of situations in which you need to use these strategies more, or maybe they're brand new to you and you want to try them. It's not always going to go perfectly, but it definitely is about practice. Other things that help our memory that we should always be working on is just even eating right, getting enough sleep, and really managing our anxiety and our stress. These things have been shown to help our memory perform at a more optimal level, so it's important to keep these things in mind as well. Lastly, there's a lot of other cognitive functions that can impact our memory. One of the biggest is attention. Attention is kind of the gatekeeper, I believe, to memory. If you do not have really good attention, and that's like high level cognitive attention and concentration, then you won't really even be able to store or later recall information. So the most common example is probably when you're meeting someone new, you need to actively be paying attention to the person as they're telling you what their name is, then maybe use a memory strategy like repetition, rehearsal, and association to help recall their name. People will tell me, oh, I just met this person, 30 seconds ago and I already forget their name. Well, I would challenge you to think that likely you also might have not been fully paying attention. Maybe you're thinking about what you were about to say, or that you're going to introduce yourself. Maybe there's other people around or distractions. But if you weren't really paying attention, your memory didn't even have a chance to encode or store that information. And so next time we'll explore more about attention and some strategies for that. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. For more information, visit us online, send us an email, or give us a call. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are released. And most of all, be well.